How concerned are you by what's happening on Greece?
Morning, Kay. Thanks for having me. Of course, it's very concerning to hear those stories from those holidaymakers who will have worked hard all year to have that holiday and then to have what sounded like a very distressing experience. I think all of us have looked at it and are very concerned indeed.
Yeah, indeed. So I put this to the Minister this morning. Interesting to hear what Labour's view is this morning. Which Travel, obviously a well-respected magazine, telling us that it was deeply irresponsible of the airlines and the tour operators to be taking people out as late as Saturday night to places like Rhodes, when they then had to be taken directly to areas away from their hotel.
Yeah, I think I would find it hard to understand that if I was a holidaymaker, that was my experience. Ultimately, my advice would be, as it would always be to my constituents, is follow the Foreign Office guidance. And the Foreign Office guidance is still clear. We've heard it again from Michael Gove this morning. So, I don't think it's a surprise that guidance followed, but, there has to be, of course, that dialogue with the operators. So if they get into a situation where they're flying people into places where they're going to have to move them straight away, well, they need to talk to the Foreign Office about that and find a way, of making sure that guidance perhaps is a bit clearer.
Down to climate change, what's happening on Greece? We've been hearing from our climate change expert this morning. It's not easy being green, but what's the alternative? What do we need to do?
Well, we have to commit to this. We are seeing this all around, whether that's at home or abroad. Our climate is changing, but we have to grasp the opportunity in that. Through this, we can cut the cost of living by going greener. We can provide new jobs and opportunities. We can make sure we've got better energy security. So, sometimes we talk about this in the deficit, but actually creating those new jobs in green industries, becoming a green energy superpower, which is one of our real main driving missions. Well, there's great opportunities in that. And I think when you talk to the public in that way, they engage and they're up for it too.
Yeah, but that means not using as much or as many fossil fuels. And the government say that Labour, that's you want to get rid of those fossil fuels. The government is saying, no, we need them for years in the future.
Well, it's finding a balance of a transition. If we were going harder on renewables, I still don't know what the good case now is against onshore wind. We've heard the government finally, after years of blocking it, say they now want to be more permissive on offshore wind. There will be a transition from one to the other, but we have to get on with it and commit to it. And at the moment, progress has been far too slow, which is why, as I say, it's one of our guiding missions of a future Labour government, and one that we think would be great for the economy, great for people's pockets, and crucially, tackle our environmental challenges.
I don't know if you heard, well, I think you probably did, what the Minister was saying this morning about Just Stop Oil. They were on the programme yesterday, sat on the floor to make their point. Hey, lots of papers were talking about it, so, it's certainly one way of making people listen. But we were hearing from the Minister, he says they need to put their hair shirts away. What do you think?
I don't think it works. Maybe I've got a degree of authority in this space, Kay, in the fact that, I've taken part in marches and rallies a lot in my time. And what I've learned is, if what you do is just get in the way of ordinary people trying to get on with their lives, whether that's because, they've wanted to go to the cricket and they've been waiting for it for months, or whether it's because they're trying to get to work and you won't let them. I've never found that would persuade anybody. It wouldn't persuade me, frankly. So, whatever the point you're trying to make in a democracy, you can make it, but there are persuasive and much more legitimate ways to make it that bring the public with you and lead you to get what you're seeking to get.
Would you go to Rhodes at the moment?
The Foreign Office advice says yes, then yes.
Even if it meant that potentially you might have to go to an evacuation centre rather than your hotel?
Well, that's not to say I wouldn't be checking in with my airline or my package holiday operator to make sure that wasn't the case, but it isn't fair, and it isn't for, members of the public to have to second guess and to have to create their own travel guidance. That's why we have a government. That's why we put confidence in the advice of the Foreign Office, and that's why we have to believe that they are talking to the government over there. They're talking to the operators. They're talking to the insurers to make sure that advice is as good as possible. But, at that moment of going to the airport, if the advice says that that's what I'm supposed to do and what I can do, then that's what I would do.
OK, good to see you. Thanks so much indeed for joining us. Thank you.